Let's go back to the beginning. Once upon a time, when you wanted a shirt, you went to someone who knew how to make it. An artisan. He took your measurements and he made you a shirt that fit you beautifully. Then in there came a designer, someone with creative flair, great ideas. He put some beautiful details on a simple shirt and everybody wanted it. It became fashionable. Then I guess you could easily say that somebody from a nearby town heard about those shirts and wanted to stock them for their community, and that was a retailer. As communications made ideas spread really fast, lots of other people around the world wanted it, and then you had, of course, the wholesalers, the distributors. The artisan couldn't keep up with the demand that he was getting, so he hired other artisans, and he became a manufacturer. Further, as business between countries, trade between countries with unequal living standards became easier, well, then our artisans were not competitive anymore, and all that work, all that production went overseas. Well, now, this is where it got complicated. A lot of layers were added, a lot of layers to manage this incredibly complex global supply chain. Of course, we needed demand to increase, so fast and cheaper became really important, and for fast and cheaper meant that the artisan had to be turned into a factory worker. What does that mean? That means that he doesn't make the shirt anymore. He just makes a part of the shirt. He repeats that process over and over and over again. Any creativity out of his job is taken away in the name of productivity. And as far as the customer, he's now a consumer, because that's what he's supposed to do, consume more and more and more. This shirt had lost all its value. It has lost all its authenticity. It had just turned into a commodity. It was available at different price points, vying for your attention on the latest celebrity's back. So here we were. We had this really complex supply chain, and everybody, all of us who were working within it, were not at all happy with it. You had the artisan turned factory worker. Yes, he was making a little bit more money, but really, he was in competition at any given moment to lose his job to a machine or a cheaper source. Yes, you had us, the designers, and we had incredible pressure to keep up with the latest trend that was in the market. And then, of course, you had the customer, the new consumer. Yes, he had incredible choices and incredible price points, but really, was there such a difference? It didn't matter where you went, London, New York, Rome, Singapore, you had the same shirt following you around. Where was the authenticity? So I decided it was enough time, we'd been complaining about it at fashion shows and fabric trade shows, that we're going to do something about it. So we thought, what if we could use technology and bring all of these unhappy people face to face so that they could see each other and talk to each other? So we decided that we were going to track and trace every single piece all the way back to every individual artisan who made it. And then we were going to offer that information to the customer. They could trace back who had made their piece, and if they really wanted to, they could even find out where it came from, how it was made, and plus get involved and maybe help them promote the artisan on social media. So we ran an experiment. For that experiment, we chose Madras. Now, Madras plaid is something that all of you probably have in it's one of the most common fabrics available. And the sad truth about Madras is 90% of the Madras shirts made in India that are called Madras are not made in India. And the ones that are made in India are not even made by the real Madras handloom weavers in the south of India. And actually, the south of India, the place is no longer called Madras. So we don't even know if there's a mythical name that came from somewhere. But anyway, there was a place called Madras, which is now called Chennai. And that is where these handloom weavers were producing this fabric for centuries. That's what gave it the name. Now imagine if we had bubbly wine and they could put champagne label on it. I mean, the French would really get upset about that. So here we were, the Madras weavers, and they could do nothing about this. So we went there, we found there were over 250,000 families still doing handloom weaving. And they were frustrated because they couldn't compete with the machine-made goods coming from overseas as well as in India. So we talked to them. We found out what it is that they wanted, and we took this authentic Madras fabric, and then we went all the way to Europe, where we found, again, disgruntled European artisan producers who were making beautiful shirts for centuries and now couldn't compete against the cheap shirts coming out of the Far East. So we put them together. Every single piece had the artisan's trace on it. We traced it back from Madras to Europe, put a unique code onto that piece, and that piece, the consumer could use that unique code to trace it back to who it was, to get involved, to find out. And we actually encouraged the consumer to take a picture and put it up so that he could get involved and he could maybe promote his artisan. Now, this experiment, I'm happy to tell you, had the most magical consequences. We are so excited. The artisans are now suddenly so proud of what it is that they're doing. Finally, someone gives them credit, individual credit. They're signing every single piece with their name. They actually get to know people across continents who've bought their work. People are sending them thank you notes. Thank you, that was so beautiful. And the consumer now no longer is a consumer, he's an engaged community. He gets an authentic, real, handmade Madras shirt at a reasonable price point. And on top of it, he can trace it back and he can even help promote his artisan, maybe make some money out of that for himself, becoming a trunk show host. So here you are. I told you this story, and I'm hoping that you see what it is that we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is that we're trying to make sure everyone understands and realizes that we're all part of this, and we should all see each other, and seeing each other and being aware of each other makes us aware of the responsibility we have towards each other. Responsibility to produce, to consume, and to conserve responsibly. And of course, I hope this little story has made all of you a little intrigued that tomorrow morning, when you get up and reach out for that shirt, you wonder, who made it? And I hope you also feel that this story of this new supply chain that we call the prosperity chain is an idea worth spreading. Thank you.